Welcome to Caliban Command. Today we are going to cover the epic characters of the Dark Angels chapter. Starting with the Lion. The Lion is a fantastic place to start this video because he is the first of our legion, courtesy of him being our Primarch. He can deep strike, and when in combat he has fights first. He has 3 abilities to pick between for each of your command phases. Starting with All Secrets Revealed, which is a 12-inch aura that can exhaust stratagems that your opponent is attempting to use to buff their units with. It forces a battle shock test, which if they fail, the stratagem cannot be used on that unit and still counts as having been used for your opponent's purposes. Martial Exemplar is the second ability, which allows friendly Astartes units within 6 inches to add 1 to their hit rolls. No Hiding from the Watchers allows friendly Astartes to have a 4-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds, which is the third of these abilities. The Emperor's Shield is a piece of his war gear, which causes unmodified saving rolls of a 6 due to melee attacks to result in the attacker suffering a mortal wound. The Dark Angel's Bodyguard rule allows this model to have the Lone Operative keyword while he is within 3 inches of 1 or more friendly Adeptus Astartes infantry units. This model has a lot of interesting interactions with this. It provides a 12-inch bubble that any enemy outside of that cannot target him, which makes it a fantastic way to get him to foot slog it up the board and get into melee combat. His 8-inch move can make it a little interesting to set up, and it only applies to infantry, so models like the Ravenwing won't apply, but it's still a good way to move him about, even if it means that he has to move a little bit slower than his bodyguards. I think if you're going to hold the Lion in reserve, that he needs to come in alongside Deathwing so that he has the Lone Operative keyword. And I think having to deep strike multiple units makes charges very difficult. I believe the Lion needs to wade through the board with bodyguards and the Lion is 38 points per wound. He is a fantastic melee combatant, as expected. He's durable enough to warrant his price tag. There is a degree of focus your opponent will likely have to put on him as well, and that will divert firepower from objectives in some situations. The Armalumis is a flexible pistol. It has 2 profiles you can choose between. The Bolt profile is range 12, 4 shots, 2 up to hit, strength 4, AP -1, and 2 damage. The Plasma profile is range 12, 2 shots, 2 up to hit, strength 8, -3 AP, and 2 damage. His shooting is a minimal addition to his profile, but is still the equivalent of 2 intercessors, and his Plasma profile is a good chunk of damage in and of itself. His melee profiles are really what you're purchasing the model for. Fealty in either a striking profile or a sweeping profile have very wide arrays of targets. His strike profile is 8 attacks at 2 up to hit, strength 12, -4 AP, and 4 damage, which is rather impressive. I want to touch on the fact that almost everything in the game will be forced to use invuln saves against this profile. He is an absolute meat grinder against elites and some vehicles even. A large number of which will still be wounded on 2s. Anything smaller wastes this profile, but if you need it dead, I recommend this profile. It also has lethal hits, which means that each critical automatically wounds. His sweep profile is 16 attacks with sustained hits 1, causing each critical hit to generate an additional hit. At 2 up to hit, with strength 6, -3 AP, and 2 damage a swing, I've had this profile land 22 blows out of 16 before. This will mow through infantry, wound most horde units on 3 ups, and can wipe out most infantry in a blur. The Lion is a legendary combatant, and it shows in his sheet. He is a whirlwind with his sweeping profile, and a meat grinder with his striking profile. I'll be testing him out against Titan soon, just for curiosity purposes. I personally would field the Lion in my backline and move him up the board alongside a good bodyguard choice. Usually some Deathwing Knights or Deathwing Terminators would be a good addition, as their range support and melee support blend very well with him. I don't think Intercessors are a good option, but they aren't necessarily a bad option to keep around him either, because of his defensive abilities that he can spread as an orc. The lion is our hammer, Asriel is our anvil. He makes an infantry squad more durable courtesy of a 4-up invuln save and a once per game 4-up feel no pain for mortal wounds that you can activate at any time. He provides more command points per turn and will allow for further stratagem support for your army. He provides sustained hits to his unit, which will cause bonus hits on 6s from that unit. I would personally pair him with Hellblasters or Sternguard veterans, as I believe both lend themselves to that style of play very well. His range of 24-inch on his ranged weapon complements either very well as well. I think the sustained hits does Hellblasters the most good due to the high damage, high AP, especially if you're overcharging. But I'm still playing with Sternguard, and in certain lists, I'm getting a lot more use out of them alongside Asriel than I am the Hellblasters. He clocks in at 105 points, 17.5 points per wound. The Lion's Wrath has a very solid profile at 24-inch range, 2 shots, 2 up to hit, strength 8, minus 3 AP, and damage 2. It will also cause critical wounds on a 4 and higher, courtesy of anti-infantry, which helps its devastating wounds ability activate on 4s instead of 6s. It will also get a 3rd shot against targets at 12-inch or closer. The Sword of Secrets has 6 attacks at 2 up to hit, strength 6, minus 4 AP, and 2 damage a swing. It also has devastating wounds on it. Asriel is an all-rounder. He can honestly go into any of the squads he can lead and yield quite excellent results. The worst one to include him in my opinion, is Infernus Marines, as the sustained hits won't proc on their weapons. Belial is the leader of our first company, also the next character we expect to get a glow-up, and honestly he deserves one. He looks good now, but imagine what he could look like with a new sculpt. A unit led by Belial gains precision on critical hits, allowing a Terminator squad the ability to hunt characters more easily. He has a defensive rule in the form of Strikes of Retribution, which causes each melee attacker that targets him to generate 1d6 potential mortal wounds being bounced into the squad per attack. Those wounds occur on a 2-up on that dice roll. This means that a squad of Assault Intercessors can potentially remove 3 of its own models as a result of these rolls. I'd personally pair him with a Deathwing Command Squad or Terminator Squad. Belial costs 85 points and you get 14.2 points per wound. He is equipped with a Mastercrafted Stormbolter, which has a range of 24 inches, 2 shots at 2 up to hit, strength 4, 0 AP, and 2 damage. It comes with precision and rapid fire too, allowing the targeting of characters and double shots at half range. The Sword of Silence has 6 swings at 2 up to hit, strength 6, minus 2 AP, and damage 2. It also comes with precision, allowing him to target characters in melee. I believe Belial is best used in a squad that has mixed arms between ranged and melee, namely Deathwing Terminator squads or standard Terminator squads. The best way to use his defensive ability at first is to punish precision melee combatants, as it will allow you to take a chunk of their wounds out before you get to your own combat phase. He can deep strike along Terminator units, and I'd recommend bringing him in that way. A sudden appearance of a character like Belial alongside some ranged melee support alongside him in your opponent's backline can cause absolute havoc on the board. The mixture of ranged and melee combat in the Deathwing Command Squad is a solid choice. The Apothecary makes the squad hard to remove at the 10-man count. The Champion makes charge rolls more reliable, and the Banner makes the objective control they provide far stronger. Samael is another character who deserves a rework visually, and I hope he gets one soon. He's another example of the Finecast era not aging particularly well. He enables bike squads of all stripes to shoot and declare a charge in which it advanced. When an enemy unit attempts to fall back out of engagement range with Samael, excluding a vehicle or monster, models in that unit must take desperate escape tests at a -1 penalty. Otherwise, they act as though battle shocked for this. I would consider partnering Samael with a Ravenwing Command Squad or a squad of Black Knights. The Command Squad makes a good showing with him due to the Narthesium and the ability of the Champion to add 1 to advance and charge rolls. I'd run them with 6 members, the Apothecary, the Ancient, the Champion, and 3 Knights. Samael is 170 points, 18.6 points per wound. The bolt pistol is negligible and is just bonus shooting in melee range. It is one shot at strength 4, 2 up to hit, 0 AP, damage 1. The Mastercrafted Plasma Cannon has 36-inch range, D3 attacks, 2 up to hit, strength 8, minus 3 AP and 2 damage, and has the blast keyword. The Twin Storm Bolter is 24-inch range, 2 attacks with rapid fire 2, 2 up to hit, strength 4 with twin linked, and 0 AP and damage 1. The Raven Sword is 6 attacks at 2 up to hit, strength 6, minus 3 AP, damage 2, and sustained hits 2. Samael is best when paired with large numbers, in my opinion, as his rules provide better support to a 6-man squad versus a 3-man squad. I honestly don't think there's a need to pair him with something like Outriders, not while Black Knights and Command Squads. Ezekiel is our chief librarian. He gives his attached unit a 4-up Feel No Pain for psychic attacks, and once per turn during the shooting phase, he can force an enemy to take a battle shock test. He adds attacks to the unit he's leading, but when he dies, he forces a battle shock test on units in your army within 6 inches. I would recommend Vanguard Veterans as the attached unit for Ezekiel, though they cannot take their jump packs. He takes a blender and makes it into a whirlwind. I would pair his ability with anything that generates extra hits or extra attacks. When the Codex comes out, I'm really hoping that he and our next example get a bit of a rework, allowing them to be taken alongside more units. Ezekiel comes in at 75 points, which is 18.75 points per wound. The Deliverer is a pistol with 12-inch range, 1 shot, 2 up to hit, strength 4, minus 1 AP, and damage 2 with precision. Mind Wipe is a psychic witchfire ability with a single shot at 12-inch range, 2 up to hit, strength 6, minus 2 AP, D6 damage with precision and devastating wounds. Its focused form has the same profile but gains anti-character 4-up and hazardous. Trader's Bane is the sword he carries. He gets 4 swings at 2 up to hit, 6 strength, minus 2 AP, damage D3, and anti-chaos 2-up and psychic keywords. Asmodei is a character hunter. I'd personally recommend fielding him with Vanguard Veteran squads again. Much like Ezekiel, I'm hoping that they get their rules changed in the new Codex, and that they get more units that they can accompany. His units, honestly, without Assault Marines, I don't think I can recommend either Asmodei or Ezekiel. His rules support him getting into melee, which he suffers from units disappearing from the Space Marine Codex with the loss of assault squads, which is why I can't really recommend him. He's a better choice to accompany Vanguard Veterans than Ezekiel due to his rerolls, but honestly they both fall short at this time due to limitations on how they're fielded. Hopefully this is something that the Codex fixes when it comes out. Asmodei is 70 points, 17.5 points per wound. The bolt pistol profile is 1 shot at 12-inch range, 3 up to hit, strength 4, 0 AP, and 1 damage. It exists, but that's honestly about it. His melee profiles are a bit better, as he has the Blades of Reason at 3 swings with 2 up to hit, strength 4, 0 AP, 1 damage, anti-character 2 up, and precision. This lets you target characters with it, which with the 2 up to bypass saving throws makes up for its lack of AP. The extra attacks also helps with its low attack count. The Crozius Arcanum comes in with 5 swings at 2 up to hit, strength 6, 1 AP, and 2 damage. Honestly, Ezekiel and Asmodei are both passes to me at this time due to their limits to unit selection to accompany them. I find neither to be particularly useful at this time. So let's talk about our angriest company leader, Company Master Lazarus. He adds a defensive boon to your attached unit. He gives them a fight on death roll of 4-up. This occurs after your opponent's unit is done fighting. He also gives them a 3-up Feel No Pain against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. Lazarus is a good addition to lists. He provides a different defensive boost from Azrael and can serve as a budget lion in a pinch. He won't line up with the melee profile, but he can mimic one of the lion's defensive abilities and even surpass it by extending it to a 3-up instead of a 4-up. As well as adding the psychic attack resistance, but it loses its ability to cover more than one unit. Lazarus is a good choice for his cost. He clocks in at 70 points, 14 points per wound, which with his defensive boon can make a world of difference. His profile is a solid melee specialist profile for his cost. The bolt pistol has 1 shot at 12-inch range, 2 up to hit, strength 4, 0 AP, and damage 1. Honestly, this isn't why you're taking him. In Midi's Edge, however, his sword has 6 swings at 2 up to hit, strength 6, minus 3 AP and damage 2. With anti-psych or 2 up, I strongly recommend taking Lazarus, even more so against enemies like the Thousand Suns. He pairs well with Assault Intercessors or Blade Guard veterans. I personally prefer running him with Blade Guard, as the stacking defensive options are a nice touch. My channel is being supported by Hobbytown. It's where I've bought most of my collection over my time playing Warhammer. I got into the hobby with some advice from one of their workers, and have since expanded my knowledge base and skill set with the game. They support a wide array of hobbies that this small collage series just doesn't do justice to. They have stores spread out across the US, and I strongly recommend that you pop in and take a look if you get the chance, or visit them at hobbytown.com. My local shop has been an amazing support group for my hobby goals, as well as helping me meet new people and expand my skill set over the time. They're always happy to talk color theory with me or recommend products that they think might help me along my way towards getting a project done. It's been a blast working with them, and I look forward to doing so in the future. Anyway, this has been Caliban Command, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Keep painting and have a good time with the game.